Well, good morning, everyone. It's Henry once again, and I'm excited this morning. This is my first multi-day trip planned for 2026. If you followed my previous few videos, you'll see that I've bought a new canoe, and I've been changing a lot of things, and I've been testing everything. And my loop from Kiosk down to Club Lake and back went so well, I figure that I'm pretty good in shape. So this is what I hope will be a 4-day trip. Get a chance to go back and see Karl Falls, which I missed last year when I had to abort the Donald trip when my GPS failed. Then I'm going down into Chiniguichi Lake. I want to explore the Kelly portages for potentially a trip down the Sturgeon later on. Come back out into Donald and camp near the north where it's more scenic, and then back out again. So I wouldn't call it ambitious, but it's certainly a busy, steady, trip, and we'll see how it goes. The weather forecast looks really good. It's been raining the last couple of days, but right now the next 4 or 5 days looks really nice. So I hope that's true, and we'll see how this goes. But so, beginning my Karl Falls trip here at the car. I'm going to go down to the boat launch, get in the water, and put some distance between me and some of these black flies. Folks, it was a bit of a scramble. Took me probably over half an hour to get configured. Being very deliberate and very careful so that I didn't get make mistakes. Black flies are out here pretty, I would say 4 out of 5 at the shore, less in the water as you would expect. And so anyhow, I'm on my trip to Karl Falls. I hope at least it all works out. Water here nice and calm, and we're just getting started. It's according to the GPS, it's about 15. I'm going to stop and look at a couple of pictographs. Then I want to see if I can get a decent sight at Karl Falls, and I should be there in reasonably good time today. It's not even 11 yet, so I figure by 2 something I should be in that area, and that'll give me time to rig my first camp with lots of time. I've got my bug shelter system that I'm really looking forward to trying out. I don't really have trees at home that I can rig it very easily, so this is one of those things that's going to be tested in situ. I have a bug suit if I need it, but it'd be nice to have the shelter work properly, so we'll just have to see what I'm able to do. I want to thank you very much for coming along, and hopefully you'll enjoy this trip as I go along. I should also point out that I'm testing my solar panel for the first time. So here's my 10-watt solar panel, and it's connected to my 20,000 milliamp hour battery. That battery was at 88% when I started today, deliberately, to see what we could get out of it, knowing I had a sunny day. And so we'll keep an eye on it. This is one of the grippers I use for my paddles when I'm portaging, so now I get to use it for a second purpose, which is kind of nice. And we'll see how this goes. Hard to believe, it's been 9 months. So I came back on my Donald trip at the beginning of September, and we had a cold, kind of rainy September, and I'm not a freezing cold camper, at least yet anyway. So I remember coming back and enjoying just the beginning of the colors that were here. And you know, it's hard to believe, now it is May 25th today, so that's basically 9 months. So our canoe tripping season here in northern Ontario is 3 months long, plus or minus a week or two. So as I like to say, every day is 1% of the season. So I was just thinking, you know, that one of the things I love about this activity is its combinations. So certainly you're out in the natural world, which I find appealing, to have always been as a boy. And it wasn't something that my family did. I found this on my own. But what's the nice balance is that you've got the academic. You're looking at the maps and deciding where to go, and reading trail stuff and deciding what you're prepared to able to carry and do. And then you plan the trip as to what you want to take with you for comfort and so forth, and what you think you can carry, and how you want to structure the trip, as a single or double or triple portaging or no portaging. You're doing it with a buddy, doing it solo. All this stuff gets in the calculation part, however way you do that. And then the other half of it is the doing. So it's the physical activity of getting out now and visiting these places and seeing what you wanted to come and see, and also the satisfaction that a reasonably well planned trip, you know, goes better. You have all the bits and pieces with you that you want, and all the rest. So I just love the combination of that physical as well as the mental. But pictographs here are pretty nice. I saw a moose and a turtle and what's probably a person. So I don't know how long ago that was put there, but that's pretty amazing. You know, that might be 200 years old or more. I have no idea. Here. I think that this land has been traveled for 10 millennia. It's amazing. And the best part is that for the vast majority of it, it was not despoiled. So we're very fortunate that it's like this and we can come here. Got a falling wind today, which, as most canoeists will tell you, is not very common. I'm sitting here at 6.5 and I'm doing practically nothing. So it's pretty nice. And if I stroke it all, I'm over 7 kilometers an hour. I'm going to be at the other end of this bay in time for lunch, let alone dinner. It's amazing. But it still will be nice to take time and set up a nice camp. So okay, so I'm going crosswind in McCarthy Bay. I've got about a 15 to 20 kilometer wind on my right side. I'm taking the waves almost exactly abeam. The troughs are approximately 20 to 30 centimeters, and the boat is riding nicely over these, and until just there I've been able to paddle both sides and it tracks really nicely. We're down to 5.2. We've been as high as 6 going across on this, which is quite a challenge for any boat. but it's doing pretty well. So I don't know how this will show up on the video, but you know, I gotta pay attention here. But it's tracking this really nicely. And of course, when you're rough water like this, keep your eye on the horizon, and the boat knows what to do. So you just don't want to get in the way of it. You get past this open area here, the wind should diminish. It might be 25 now. It's coming pretty close. So it's about almost 2 o'clock on the 25th. It doesn't look that bad out there. It was, I would say the winds out on the main bay where you can see the gusts on the water are 25, maybe 30k gusts. And the problem was when it came across, it was getting 40 centimeter wave crest. It's okay, but I just don't need it. And I got lots of time. And the problem is that the fetch of this lake, the dam, is exactly at the far end of the wind. So the waves will be the worst right where I'm going to get out. I found this campsite C53-2A, which I'd marked last year. It didn't come, and it's adequate. I'm going to give you a quick tour here in a minute. And so if the wind doesn't go down around 5, 6 o'clock or whatever, because we got sun here till 9, so there's no big rush. But if it doesn't, then I'll stay here. Otherwise, I'll make distance just the rest of the day. So when I came to shore, I came around this little point here, which made the water a little easier, and also there was a nice grounding area here with the stone, which I was able to get the canoe ashore. But because the canoe was moving quite a bit, I switched to my Crocs so I could step out in the water, and so my canoeing shoes and stuff are still in the boat. I've also tied the canoe off. This canoe is quite light now and wouldn't want the wind to pick it up and send it somewhere. So we've got a rope on it now to make sure, and you can see it's been tensed a little bit here, so that's good. But there shouldn't be any problems. Well grounded. Okay, I'm just sitting over here with a nice view of the bay, and I just put my hiking chair behind the rock because the wind was blowing it over. I hung my life jacket on a tree so it doesn't get blown away. Other than that, we're fine. If we go back in this area here, it's just too rocky. The fear I have sleeping on this type of a surface would be that you maybe, with my weight and so forth, you maybe put a hole in the air mattress. Maybe not, but who needs to take the chance? But I can move back in here a little bit. And there's a little more soil here. This isn't ideal, but I think that in this area here, I can probably make something work. So that would probably be what happens if I decide to stay. So as I said a minute ago, I think my choice would be to move on, get another couple of K, get over to the dam, get in there, find a campsite along those portages, and be ready for tomorrow. But we don't want to do that if it's going to be tricky getting out of the boat over there. And right now, there's just too much wind. So we're going to wait it out. We'll take a rest and enjoy the time here. And maybe 5, 6 o'clock, I'll be able to pull out. We'll just have to see. And the dam is somewhere out that way, there, about 750 meters away. But like I say, the wind's blowing right across here, and I think it's gone down a bit, but I don't want to wait still. I'm going to take a break here for another hour at least and see what happens. So if you look out right now, it doesn't look too bad. Now the wind's still blowing 50 to 20, but if you look over here, it doesn't look too bad. Let's just zoom in and see what we can see. That's what I'm concerned about. Those are 30 centimeters, 40 centimeters, and the wind's really coming. And that's right aimed at where the dam is, somewhere down here. It almost like an arrow. Sorry about the jiggling, but it's so you can see the surf there. So I got lots of time, so there's no need to run any kind of unreasonable risk there. It's only 700 meters. I can be over there in less than 10 minutes from here after loading. And then there's a 140 meter portage into a smaller tributary. And then when you get to the falls, it's another 340. There's 3 campsites there. So that's kind of my goal. So it's not far. So even if I'm here until 5 or 6 o'clock, it doesn't matter. And so that's kind of what I'm thinking of doing right now. I'm leaving you probably won't be able to hear very much because of the wind blowing, but I'm doing it deliberately. It's frustrating. I got 700 meters between here and the dam, and then I'm fine. The wind doesn't matter anymore. But I just don't want to dump everything or make a stupid mistake somehow. So I think things have quieted down enough that I should be able to make it over there. It's not that bad from here, I'm hoping. So we're going to give it a try and see what happens. Probably not going to make any video. I want to pay attention to getting over there without any mistakes. But I might make video when I actually get to the portage. So we'll see what happens. I'm leaving the front rope in the canoe, so if I need to get out and pull the canoe ashore or whatever, I will. Other than that, I'm in my Crocs, and other than that, was pretty much the same configuration. So, yeah, we'll see you in a little while. Well, that was quite a ride, if I don't say so myself. But the boat's amazing. There were some swells that were 2 feet high, and she went over them. I got a splash once from a crest. It's made my camera damp, but I don't think it's serious. We'll pull the pack out and see how much water's in the back of the canoe, but I don't think anything happened that matters. So we're here at the dam. So I'm going to pull the canoe out, and we got to do a few things, put things away and stuff, and then we'll be able to portage over to the other side. And then our issues with the wind today are pretty much finished because it's all small water in here. Tomorrow's another story, but for now, at least. And that's good news, to be sure. I'm glad it's a 14-foot boat. I don't know if I would have got out with a 15. So, okay, here we are on the river here after the dam, and finally moving again. Boy, we did great for the first 2.5 hours, and the last 2.5 have been a real struggle. I've been 6 hours and 31 minutes since I left, and probably 3 hours and maybe 4 hours working, 2 hours sitting. But the paddle across in those rough waters was, I really pulled it. I didn't have my GPS display on, but I must have been going 6 or 7 to keep headway. But this boat really showed itself in the rough water. I had said I'd not tried it in rough water. Well, it passed the test with flying colors, is all I can say. And so now we're coming down here, and this is quite pretty in here, to the next portage, and that's where we'll stop for the night. So I met a nice man here who's been in this forest since the 7th of May, so that's 18 days. Puts me to shame. Amazing, what an accomplishment. There's 2 sites here by the falls, and honestly I think he gave me the nicer one. So let's have a look. It's a single site. I'm going to put my tent just beside where my canoe is now. I'll move the canoe, and that's pretty much the site. The trail on the portage continues off this way, and in back up there, not too far away, is a thunderbox, so that's really nice. But look what is just literally 20 feet from my site. So you're seeing my campsite from inside my screen shelter. I've rigged it in a pretty aggressive way, but I'm able to sit underneath it here. If it was rigged, you know, where the trees were where I want them, so to speak. Now there's still some black flies that got in here. Hopefully we'll kill them off and we'll have some peace for a little while. According to the fellow I met here, who's camped at the next site, they only came out 2 days ago, so aren't we lucky? I didn't have, last week when I was in Algonquin, they were just coming out then, so it wasn't much to say. Anyhow, there's my incredible view right out behind me here. Hope the earplugs are good enough to keep the noise down, because it's quite a thing here, but my goodness, what a flow. It's fantastic to see this. So it's a pretty special sight. Once again, I started my trip at the government boat launch at the south end of Mattagamacy Lake, marked item 1. This time I paddled up the eastern channel past some scenic islands, marked item 2, and then into McCarthy Bay proper. I enjoyed a following wind for much of my paddle up the bay, marked item 3. I saw the pictographs at item 4, and then assessed a poor campsite on the south end of a nine-named triangular island at the north end of McCarthy Bay, marked item 5. Here the winds became significant, and I took a 2-hour respite at a campsite, marked item 6. After I finally braved the rough waters, I got to the portage at Karl Falls Dam, and then slightly down the Chiniguichi River to my first camp for the trip, marked item 7. The totals for the day were 17.7 kilometers of paddling and 530 meters of single portaging with an average loadout of about 104 pounds, for a total of 18.2 kilometers of human-powered travel this day. This was done in 4 hours and 35 minutes of active travel and 2 hours waiting for the wind to die down. A fine start to this first trip.